Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing a movie review. This movie is a horror film from the United States, English language, released in the year 2013, directed by Stephen R. Munro, and this film is called I Spit on Your Grave 2. So I Spit on Your Grave 2 is about this model. She's working as a waitress and she's waiting for her big break in the modelling world. But her friend tells her that her portfolio is a little bit boring, so she's going to have to take new photos with a little bit more class to them. So she's looking for a photographer. She doesn't have a lot of money, but she comes across this notice board where it shows her that there is photographers that are willing to take portfolios for free. So she rings up this place, and this guy named Ivan tells her to come along to his studio and they'll see what they can do. So she gets there, but very soon it turns very awkward when they ask her to take her clothes off. So she declines this invitation, and they say, look, you're a professional, you've got to do this. But she says no way, she leaves. But little does she know that these photographers are very perverted and they've got very sinister personalities, and they're not going to let her leave so easy. So it actually ends up being that they take her captive, and they're going to put her through all kinds of sexual violence, humiliation and basically terror, and they're going to leave her for dead. So once they think she's dead, she is going to come back and she is going to exact brutal revenge. So whether or not she can achieve this is something you're going to have to find out yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on I Spit on Your Grave 2. If you guys aren't aware of the I Spit on Your Grave name, it was a very, very controversial film in the 1970s by Mia Scarci. Now basically the movie was about female empowerment, just a seemingly harmless female being put through so much trauma and then coming back as a different person. It's basically showing you the revenge, the women that have been subjected to the torture and all this kind of thing. And as I said, it's a female empowerment, and it's basically this woman doing horrible things to the people that were doing horrible things to her. So it was a very important film as far as horror is concerned, because it did show you some very graphic depictions of rape and torture. And so a lot of people were disgusted by this film, and now it has been remade. So the first remake was in 2010, and I really liked it. I thought it was shocking. And just like the 1970s film did, it shocked audiences. The remake shocked audiences, and it levelled the bar as far as extreme horror is concerned. I thought it was very well shot, and some of the acts of violence were very extreme. And so for such an extreme film, it was very good to see that it was made with a lot of stylish sort of polish to it. So Sarah Butler was great as the female who was subjected to all the torture and humiliation in the first movie. But my problem with the first movie was that the revenge seemed a little bit rushed. So coming into I Spit on Your Grave 2, this is not a continuation of the first one, so you could watch number 2 without really needing to see the first one. But this movie has the same idea, whereas a girl has been brutally raped and she has to go back and she basically transforms into another person to exact her revenge. And you kind of feel that these characters that have been doing all the humiliation have been just bombarded with evil material. So when the revenge happens, you get a strong sense of satisfaction, and it makes you feel like you're a sicko. So that's kind of what the film does, is you get so much hatred for these bad guys that when this woman is doing absolutely horrific things, you're liking it. And it makes you ask the question, is it okay for this woman to do all these horrible things because it was done to her? And basically, no one has a right to horribly mutilate someone, but there's a strange sense of satisfaction, and you're getting it from seeing really strong depictions of violence. And that's what I think I Spit on Your Grave does very well, is that you don't realise that you're enjoying what's happening. And what is happening is absolutely ghastly, it's unforgivable. But you condone it because of what she's been through. So it's something that is very controversial, and that is why I like I Spit on Your Grave. So I like the first one, but I have to say that I actually like the second one a lot more, for the simple fact that you get so much more sympathy for this main character. She is this wannabe model. She comes into this agency believing that she is going to have a career booster, but in the end what she's getting is something that no one deserves. So I thought her acting was absolutely fantastic. I mean, this woman plays such a wide range of emotions when she's been put through this horrible torture. You can feel her pain and her terror, and you want her just to get out of there, but then she's subjected to more and more torment and humiliation, and you just feel so sorry for her. And then you actually end up thinking that maybe if she died it would be better, because what she's going through is just worse than death. So I really think they hit home that sort of feeling of just pure dread. and pure hopelessness, that you're watching this woman being subjected to all these things and you can't help her, so you feel really bad, and then it makes you want to see the graphic scenes of brutality like in Revenge even more. So I thought the villains were well done. As I said, the villains don't have too much to play with, as the case with the first remake, and as is the case with the first, the 1970s film. These villains are done in a very caricature way, where they've got no shred of decency whatsoever, but the film doesn't rely on you sympathising for these bad guys. It relies on you getting so much sympathy for this main character, and then kind of enjoying the horrible acts of violence to these guys. And as I said, it gets you wondering, why am I getting so much satisfaction out of someone being brutalised? So I thought the movie, it relayed that message a lot more powerfully than the first remake. I thought the scenes of sexual violence were very hard-hitting. This is a lot nastier than the first film. I thought, as I said, it is prolonged, and you just think to yourself, that poor woman. And then you kind of just hope that she can get the courage up and the strength up to exact her revenge. And when she exacts the revenge, it is very, very cringeworthy. Then this film is incredibly violent, it is very graphic, and it's going to get a lot of people upset. So if you haven't got a strong stomach, don't watch I Spit on Your Grave 2. But if you like extreme horror, I think this is what the USA needs. Basically elevating itself to the point of European horror, daring to show some balls, and in the end what you get is what horror is all about. Something that is going to genuinely make you feel very uncomfortable. So I thought the ending was okay. But there were problems with the film that I had that are very standard with these kinds of films. As is the case with the first film, you felt that this woman, the rape scenes and the brutality, they are very prolonged, but then it feels like it's a little bit rushed when she's exacting her revenge. So you're not quite getting the full amount of satisfaction as you probably should have. So the first one, it felt like, yes, the rape and all the character build up, and then all of a sudden, bang, 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 her revenge was done. So you feel to yourself, okay, that was rushed. So in this movie, it actually felt rushed as well. So I think it was prolonged a little bit in the brutality in the revenge. It would have felt like a little bit more of a complete film. I thought the fact that it was set in Bulgaria for most of it was a little bit off-putting as well, because you've got some American actors with Bulgarian accents. You actually got some Bulgarian natives in the film, but it kind of gets you out of the realms of realism when you've got two Bulgarian characters speaking to each other in English. Now, why would they do that? If you're living in Bulgaria and you're speaking to one another, why wouldn't you speak in Bulgarian? So that kind of, it feels like a little bit of an insult to the country that is actually set in. So I actually felt that if you want to make a film solely in English, set it in the United States. Now I know that Bulgaria had, it was a collaboration between USA and Bulgaria in this film, but it would have been a little bit more realistic if it was actually spoken the Bulgarian language a lot more. There is a little bit of subtitles, but not really enough to make it feel like you're actually in this setting. So I thought there were some moments in the film where when the revenge takes place, it was a little bit convenient. All of a sudden she knocks someone out and then she's tied them up in this elaborate sort of torture chamber, and you think to yourself, how did she get this person in that position? And it kind of makes you feel like you're watching kind of like a Saw film, and all these very elaborate traps and all these torture devices that you think to yourself, well, that's not really that realistic, and it's made solely for the focus of getting that pain across. And but I will say that as far as extreme cinema is concerned, if you are a fan of it, I would highly recommend you check out I Spit on Your Grave 2. I really enjoyed it. Well, actually, I don't think enjoyment is really the word for it. I appreciated it for really going to the lengths that not a lot of American horror films will. I think it's better than the first remake, and I'm looking forward to watching the third installment in this new franchise. So overall, for I Spit on Your Grave 2, going to give it 3 stars. Go out there and see it. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.